Hi, welcome to Through a Handler's Eyes. I'm Jo Hilda and I'll be interviewing assistance dog handlers Australia-wide. We won't be discussing legalities or training methods, just the journey of the human and their dog. Hi, today I welcome assistance dog handler Ellie and her dog Zoe. Ellie is from New South Wales and she's an owner trainer with the help of an organisation. How are you going, Ellie?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very well. What was the influence that made you decide to get an assistance dog as part of your treatment for your own disabilities?
I had a moment where I ended up being at the shops and disassociated very dangerously and had a few moments where I realized that I couldn't function without either having another person or another form of support there. So I ended up speaking to my GP about, what alternatives were out there. I'd researched assistance dogs very briefly, but didn't realize that you could have them for mental health disabilities as well as physical ones. So once she said that you can get them for physical and both psychological disabilities as well, that's when I started on the process.
Right. And how long ago was your first assistance dog?
I'm still only on my first one, and she's been working with me for about 4 years now.
Okay, so Zoe's your first assistance dog.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about her.
She's currently 9.5, going on 10, working half-time because of how old she is, and she's been a lifesaver, honestly. She's gotten me through some really, really rough times and made it so I'm able to live and function as myself and not have to constantly rely on other people to be there to help me.
And what breed is she?
She's a Foxy Jack Russell Cross.
What made you choose that? Or
wasn't really
just
by choice. She was already a pet. I've had her since 2010, and I had her assessed to see whether she would be a good fit for training and reaching the standard, and she was. So we just buckled down and put a lot of work in, and she ended up, becoming one of my, she's the best dog I've ever had, really.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about your journey with her. How's that been with training and going out and about?
With training, it's been pretty good. She's extremely switched on and loves to work and learn new things. So the training wasn't too much of a stumbling point. There's been a few little things pop up that have put bumps in the road. We had an interaction with a dog one time and she nearly got attacked. So we had to work through a bit of fear reactivity with dogs. So we pulled her from work when that happened to make sure that she wasn't going to hurt anybody or hurt another dog, to make sure that she was still sound. And since that moment, she's been perfect, never faltered. Going out, it's been 50-50. Most of the time we have a really good interaction. We don't have too many issues. There's been a couple of times where we've had to advocate for ourselves and explain the laws and make sure that it's people understand that no, just because it's not, a guide dog doesn't mean, it's not an assistance dog.
Yeah. How have your friends and family reacted to you having an assistance dog?
My friends have been 110% supportive. They've helped me through the process and been really supportive, helped with training. My family have been supportive. It took quite a while for one of my family to turn around and understand and see the impact she actually made in my life being out. That person hadn't really seen any of my mental health moments when I'm out, because I don't really go out with them that much. They also don't really have much a belief that mental health is a thing. So that was a very interesting situation to try and explain to someone who doesn't believe in mental health issues or disabilities, to the point where she accepts her, but it's a bit difficult when we go out together because she'll sit there and try and distract her while we're out, which becomes a bit of a problem sometimes. But we just stick to our guns and say, look, you can't do that. She's here for a reason. You get all the time in the world other times, but when the vest is on, please just don't look at her, don't talk to her, don't make hissy noises,
It's hard, isn't it, if you can't convince your own friends and family not to do those things. What chance have we got with the general public?
Exactly. That's sort of it too. And it's like the person has an understanding of different assistance dogs. Their brother had a guide dog for a little while, but before they realized that it just wasn't right for them. So they know how to behave around them. It was just that, oh, well, it's our dog, so it's fine, when it's not.
No, I suppose, though, because you've had her for so long, people still probably see her as your pet.
Yeah,
which makes things very difficult.
Yeah, that's pretty much it too. Because she started work at, I think she was about 5 or 6 when we started the process.
What's the best thing about having an assistance dog?
The freedom to be able to function and get around without having to rely on other people to help, and being independent. The independence that comes with it is something that's extremely special.
Yeah, that theme goes through most of my interviews. Now, what would the worst thing be, would you say?
The public, honestly, people who don't understand or don't read the vest or don't think and just interact and think that, oh, there's a dog in here, so obviously I can pat it, where it's like, no, the dog's here for a reason. Please just, I'm happy to answer questions, but, please don't come up and just grab or touch or things like that. I've had some interesting incidents with the public relating to interactions.
Give me an example of something and how you've handled it.
Usually with small children who run up when their parents are, just go say hello to the dog. I'll put my hand out just very calmly and say, no, stop. She's working. Please give us some space. Or if they then go, oh, well, what's she working for? I'll explain very briefly on what she does, and what her reasoning for being in a strange place that dogs usually normally aren't. And just try and educate and explain and give my best reasonings to why she's there, and hopefully educate so if they encounter another handler further down the track, that they don't do the same thing.
Yeah. What's been your best public access experience? That's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, there's been a couple. Probably the best one has been when actually, no, that would be it. We were going into a shopping center and a security guard approached us, and he'd spoken to me a couple of times before with Zoe being there. And he had this smile on his face, and he came up and he goes, is that a companion dog? And I was like, no, it's an assistance dog. And he's like, perfect, that's the right answer. So he'd created this question to get people who are just bringing their pets in. So, because most people be like, yeah, it's a companion dog. And then it's like, well, then you're not allowed here. Sorry. But companion dog is not an assistance dog. So that was probably one of the good interactions I've had. He was always a really great security guard. He never gave me any problems or anything. But just that question, it was really good that he'd thought up such a smart way of asking.
And that's all that's needed, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's it. Like, I've had a few people, even in public, lately go, oh, is that a companion dog? I'm like, no, it's an assistance dog, trying to make sure that the difference is
terminology. Yeah. Yeah, because some people get the terminology mixed up, don't they?
Yeah.
They think service dog too, which is not a term we use in Australia.
No, it's not, which is, it's a it's an interesting crossover to see the difference between how people will try and portray their dogs rather than what the actual, terminology is for us.
And how has this COVID isolation been affecting you guys?
It's been very difficult to go out, mainly just because, one, social distancing. When you've got a dog, people don't care, and they'll still try and come up and talk to you and get in your personal space. So we haven't been working as much as we normally would, but we've also been getting a lot of either just click and collect. So one of the people I live with will just go in and get the items and bring them out, and mainly just doing a lot of home training, like brushing up on little bits and pieces, making sure that all the alerts and behaviors are still at a good level. So mainly just keeping up with the training.
Oh, that's good. I know myself, if we go out, my boy tends to lose his mind a bit for about 10 minutes when we first go into the shop till we're in our rhythm again, because, he used to go out a couple of times a week and now he's been out once a month.
Yeah, that's the same with us.
Sometimes takes a little while to get them back in the rhythm.
Oh, yeah, no, that's definitely it.
Yeah. What piece of advice do you wish someone had given you when you first started that you could give the listeners?
Be aware that the public aren't as polite and understanding as people would want you to believe. I didn't really know about how intense and how the public would interact with me as a service dog handler and having a dog in a place that normally dogs aren't. So it's mainly just understanding that people are going to ask questions. Sometimes they'll ask them nicely. Sometimes they'll be really rude. But just be prepared with either a set script of an answer. Yeah, mate, that's mainly my advice is, make sure you've got an answer.
Have a plan.
And a plan.
What has been your biggest challenge since you started this?
Probably just the general anxiety around access issues, not knowing whether you're going to be confronted entering a venue or shop or anything like that, that some people just don't know the laws. So the anxiety that comes from going to new places where we haven't been before is always quite high on the list.
What's the best thing about having an assistance dog?
Definitely the freedom and the independence.
It's something we take for granted until we don't have it.
Exactly.
You don't live with your parents, you live out of home?
Yeah, I live with a friend of mine in their family's granny flat. I ended up having to move about a year ago due to other circumstances. So, but they're 110% supportive. They know the drill, and they're super accepting, which is really nice.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
It really is.
Now, does Zoe have her own Facebook or Instagram page?
She doesn't. I've considered making one, but it's just never been something that I felt like I'd have the ability to keep updated and frequent as much as I would like to if it were to happen. Maybe when I start training a prospect and they reach assistance dog in training status, I may start with them, but it's sort of a maybe not sort of thing.
Yeah, I always ask because I know my boy has a Facebook page and lots of people have Instagram pages, and I like to give them a plug if they've got one.
Excellent.
Is there anything else you'd like to say before we finish?
Mainly just, if you're a new handler out there and you're considering it, definitely do your research, talk to other handlers, find some groups on Facebook, and just ask questions. Mainly, just get as much education and information as you can if you're considering getting an assistance dog or starting on that journey.
And is it worth it?
For me, it has been, definitely. It definitely differs from person to person, but for me, it's improved my life and given me the ability to do so many things that I wouldn't have been able to do.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been wonderful.
Okay, guys, don't forget to listen again next time. Bye. Thanks for listening. If you've got any questions or you would like to be a guest, email me at throughahandlerseyes@gmail.com. Bye.